That's nice.
What's up, guys? It's Rev J again, back out in the garage with the Hatredcopter C10, and I don't know, a good amount, probably 50 or so feet of 3/4 inch aluminum C-channel, as well as two big 4x6 sheets of 080 aluminum. Why do I have all this? Well, it's about time we went ahead and got around to the bed floor. If you've been watching the channel a while, you'll know, well, pretty much everything back here had to get redone. The frame is new, the suspension is new, the bed mostly is new. I fixed the tailgate, had to redo that, did the taillights, and all this stuff, but there is still no bed floor in the truck yet. And because of all the changes to the suspension and where the fuel cell is and all that stuff, well, we need a custom bed floor. A regular wood bed floor isn't gonna fit over all that stuff, and it's not gonna provide the look that I wanna go with. So let's talk a little bit about what the plan is here. I've got the bed floor behind me and all this new material. The idea is to go ahead and use that aluminum channel to build sort of a subfloor for the bed, which we can then put the aluminum 080 on top of and kind of make a skin or a basic floor. Ideally, when braced, that material should be plenty thick to hold backpacks and basic stuff I carry on the road if we do a road trip, but it is gonna be a lot lighter than the wood situation, and it's also gonna be modular, meaning I can remove the rear to get the fuel cell and all that kind of stuff, as well as having kind of cover options for the notch area. We'll talk a little bit more about those once we get a little bit further into it. So I've already taken some measurements and kind of laid out the idea that I want in a quick sketch. Now, it's not going to be the easiest for you guys to look at this the whole time, so let's cut away to an overhead of the bed and we can talk a little bit more about it. So the idea is fairly simple. We'll go ahead and use that 3/4 inch channel and kind of make a raised floor in two primary sections. A front section, which will go under where the fire extinguisher is, which will be bolted in most of the time, and a rear section, which will be able to be quickly removed to access the fuel cell and the battery and all that. The third major component won't really have too much of a frame, and it'll be removable. We may or may not make two variants of this, one sort of for the road and one sort of for show, but again, we'll get into that once we get a little further into the design process. So let's talk about this front area first. It's basically just got a frame around the perimeter with a couple of reinforcing bars. This one will bolt down more permanently, and it'll use regular fasteners. The rear panel is pretty much the same as the front. It's a perimeter with a couple of intersecting bars to support it. The biggest difference being it needs to be quickly removable so we can get access to the fuel door and the battery if we need to, as well as things like the fuel pump and the wiring for the taillights. I don't think it should be too bad, but the right choice of some sort of hinge or fastener system is going to be pretty crucial in the design. So here's that front area. No real major obstacles to worry about. We do have to fit under the fire extinguisher, but I've already taken plenty of measurements to ensure that the overall bed height won't come anywhere near where that is, and it'll still be fully able to be accessed. There is the proportioning valve, but the reality is once that's set, it doesn't really need to be messed with too much, and there's reasonable access through the wheel well. I don't think we'll have to worry about cutting a special access door or anything for this, but the beauty of the aluminum is that if we ever want to in the future, it's pretty easy to add. The rear area is pretty much the same, except we don't have lateral crossbars for full support, so we need to make sure that the frame rebuild has a decent amount of reinforcement in it. There's not going to be a lot of weight in here, but I do want it to be able to hold a jack or a few backpacks without caving in on top of the fuel cell. We do have a couple challenges back here. Obviously, it needs to be either removable or have an access door in it for the fuel cell and to get to the battery in a reasonable amount of time, as well as servicing the fuel pump there in the back. We've talked about the what, now let's talk a little bit about how exactly we're planning on doing it. I got a selection of tools laid out here that we'll be using. I've got clamps, I've got measuring devices, squares, some marking devices, my drawing. You can see the vise at the bottom of the screen, a support block, some soap for lubricant, and you see the Sawzall. Now a chop saw or a deep cut portaband or something like that would be ideal for this, and I definitely want to add one to my list of tools, but it's not in the budget right now, so I'm using what I've got. Now the Sawzall has a tendency to wander a little bit, which is why the vise and that piece of angle iron here is at the bottom of your screen. The angle iron, well, that's a little bit different of a story. It's just some regular steel angle channel here with keyways into it. What is the stuff called? It's the stuff you use for like racking and shelving. And one end has definitely been perfectly squared off. Now the idea behind this is we're going to use it as a guide in the vise when the aluminum channel is in there. That way we have a harder material against the cutting edge, which I can rest the saw and make nice repeatable cuts through the work material. So obviously everything is temporarily held in place. It's all kind of sitting on top of each other. All of these have to get notched because they will all fit into each other with a nice flush surface on top. But you can see the idea there. We've got the perimeter working its way all the way around the outside into there. We've got our 3 forward stabilizer bars here, which sort of brace the middle. Our 2 laterals, which are gonna go across the existing bed sills. And we added one for the front here too. That way we do have some support around the suspension area. Because again, you never know if there is some stuff in the bed. I want it to be able to support at least a little bit of weight in all places. I'm pretty happy with the way that came together. Oh, that's right, also added a couple little sidebars here to fill in that area there so it wasn't just wide open. So that's the basic idea for that front panel there. As you can see, I got sort of a base going for it, a base frame going for it. I need to notch all those tubes and then start getting it sort of tacked in place. There's a lot more work to do, notching and stuff like that, as well as starting on the rear panel and of course the sort of tub area in the middle. A ton more fab to do, guys, but I'm gonna leave it here for now. If you haven't seen all the updates till this point, definitely go check out the Rebuild Everything playlist, the Hatred Copter playlist, all of my other videos up until here. You click the videos thing and you see them all, obviously. Check out my build over on the 67 to 72 Chevy truck forums. It's mostly my videos right now, of course, because of the whole photo bucket thing, but I will have a bunch more of my old photos back up on Imgur, whatever it is, so you can see those if you're kind of new to the channel. Check me out on social media. I'll have that here on the screen. There's always more content coming out, as well as from friends of the channel. My guy Ryan, who had that LS3 C10, has 2 new projects in the garage. He's got a Mustang getting a whole sort of crazy front suspension, and he's got a Firebird as well, so I'll get you guys some updates on those next time I'm up there. Until then, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.